Hello, 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 hello. Hello, wisdomers on this fine, new, beautiful day. I just came by to say, hey. Hi, my name is Charenté. I am the owner of JCLV 21, which is a life coaching company where I take my clients and I help them by giving them a customized coaching plan specifically tailored towards them in health, finances, as well as their career. What I wanted to talk about today was never giving up, and it's okay to pause for the cause. When I was younger, I was very, very sick. My body was very sick. And because my body was very sick and I was doing school, high school, as well as college, school was not the easiest because it was taking a lot of focus and I was in a lot of pain. And I always chose focusing on the pain more than focusing on school. And I also, because of the syndrome, of what I call of the not enoughness, um, I was doing a lot and not really placing my focus on school. So it got to this point where I am past, or I will say now I'm at the point where I told myself I budgetarily where I wanted to be when it came to student loan debt. And I capped out of my financial aid and I decided to give up on school because I was like, I'm not enough for this. I'm not doing good enough for this. I'm keep failing courses. This is ridiculous. And then I put a pause for the cause. And the pause was I was mishandling the money that I was receiving for my school and my education. And when I say that is I had a lot of moments of splurges that now I'm like, I could have invested that. But you live and you learn, and that's okay. I also was not putting my focus on school. And when you don't put your concentration on the thing that you're trying to accomplish, it makes it really hard to accomplish it well. And I always like doing things the best I possibly can. And you can ask anyone around me. I do the things the best that I can. And if I can't do it, I'll figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I'll pray to figure it out. And I still can't figure it out, I'll ask for help. I'm going to be absolutely honest, that's my personal process. So because I didn't focus and because I wasn't spending financially, and then I was putting myself down mentally, it was hard for me to do school and I gave it up. And I had a conversation this past week when I was working with my branding consultant, and I was talking about my sister Brianna, as she passed away last year, but she was my mentor. She was my travel buddy. She was my best friend, and she was my beautiful sister. And one thing I loved about my sister was this. Even on her dying bed, she wrote a reference letter for her friend to adopt a child. Mind you, her friend, um, I will say, is in a same sex relationship. So those adoptions are generally not the easiest. But she took the time, even though it was hard for her to breathe, to write a reference letter. And they got the baby. The next thing is she got her master's degree posthumously. I don't know how she was able to do that. To focus on school, but also be in that much discomfort. Because it's hard thinking, or I will say I know it's not the easiest to breathe when your lungs feel like they're on fire on a constant basis. And that's what it felt like for her for 3 months. And that was a lot of strength. And I always looked up to her. And so now I'm getting faced with, hey, Sharente, are you going to go back to school and finish what you say you're going to start? Because you said you wanted to become a doctor, Dr. Sharente. But you haven't taken the time to go back to school. It's on your vision board, but what are you doing? And after having that conversation, I was like, I really didn't give school a fair shake last time because I was doing self-defeating thoughts. I was procrastinating. I was doing a lot of things that didn't really help the cause of going back to school. Okay, it didn't help. So I was like, if I'm presented with the opportunity, I wouldn't mind. So how the universe works is this: is I got an email the next day in the morning, like yesterday morning, and it was from a program that I didn't even sign up for, but it was through Bank of America, where they would pay for me to go back to school to get my certificate in women's entrepreneurship from Cornell University. I took it, and the class started the exact same day, and I was like, "What did I just get myself into?" But I cried when I actually did it, and I finished signing up and I started looking at what was required for the course. I cried. I cried because I said, I paused for the cause. I never gave up on myself though. And because I took the step in fear to say, I'm going to go back to school. I don't know how it's going to be, but I'm going to focus on it this time. I'm not going to have self defeating thoughts this time because I'm more than enough and I'm smart and I'm brave and it's going to be okay. And I have to tell myself this to keep my mind right. And when you decide to not give up on yourself, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself, because your esteem comes from you, because that's your self integrity. And if you're not doing the things that align with your integrity, your self esteem starts going down. It starts dwindling because you're chipping away at your heart over and over and over again because you're not accomplishing the projects that you set out for yourself. It's okay to repivot. And when I say pivot, you can think about facing in regards to the military, or simple, in layman's terms, turning. Just turn in a different direction. Because everything I've realized is all about your mood, which is a moment in the opposite direction. A moment in the opposite direction is generally when you're moody. Okay? And my thing is that you can choose your mindset. So what I did for myself last night, because I told myself I'm not going to give up, I'm going to focus on school, is I, because of the universe, because I don't know how I found this app, there is an app that I found that it's called Motion. And it's an AI that is helping me manage my task, my meetings, and pretty much everything on my calendar, and helping me readjust it so everything is meeting its deadline. And it lets me choose if it's a hard deadline, a soft deadline, no deadline, which means I just need to do within a certain time frame, and how important this is to get it done. And it will prioritize my schedule for me to optimize myself. I started that last night because I said I'm not going to give up on school. And I've already accomplished 3 things on my task. Am I going to continue using it? Yes, because it's helping me get more focused. And I like being able to say, I did these things. And it's also really nice or I will say really dope to see that I can see it on my phone to say, this is what I actually did during the day. Not just, I don't know what I did during the day. That's a great question, though. I can actually now see it. And that transparency for me helps me realize I do a lot more than I say that I do. And that's also because I got to the point where I felt like anything that I shared, people were going to pick at me for the fact they're like, you're doing too much. And I'm like, but I'm extra. And then my mom had to remind me what extra meant. She's like, Charenté, short form is killing a lot of words. And Charenté, know that extra means extraordinary. So remember, every time you call yourself extra, you're extraordinary. And when she said that, I was like, hmm. And this was a self defeating thought. This just got changed, and my mood went in a different direction after that, because I don't mind being extraordinary. By being extraordinary, other people get that to rub off on them, and their extraordinary comes out. And I love seeing their extraordinary. And when they're in their extraordinary, that's, to me, it's just when they're in their own flow, whatever that looks like for them. Because I really do rest in joy for people being able to have their own lives, and that we get to create our own reality. It takes so much worry out of the situation, because I don't worry about nothing no more. People are going to have their life. Celebrities are going to have their life. It's none of my business what goes on in their relationship. It really isn't. I am going to personally just continue working on me and continue focusing. And I have to rest in that, because when I allow other things to dictate where my mind goes and how much it stays on there, the more I rob myself of completing all the tasks that I want to do. And I don't like doing that. I'm gonna be real. I don't like doing that. So this talk is it's going to be a quick talk. I'll probably be off in a few minutes. And that's only because I wanted to express this today on the open air, because someone else might be going through this. I had to take a pause for the cause. But it felt like I gave up on myself. No, you just took a pause. You didn't know how long that pause or that hiatus was going to be. But you're coming back. Like, I keep hearing that people in retirement are coming out of retirement. So I was like, they just paused for the cause. They never gave up. When I say never gave up, is their passion is still going to show through. That's why I was like, this being on the rush of retirement doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't get it, because the fact that if you're passionate about something, I don't think you're just going to retire from it. I think you might pivot and change it into doing something else, but I don't think you never stop working. And when I say working, I'm just saying being, because that's more than enough. You just being and showing up to different places is way more than enough. And just by you going someplace, you can just light up the whole entire atmosphere just based off you. But that also starts by you taking care of you and focusing on you. I would have never got to where I am today if I did not pause for the cause and do a self reflection and realize I was not where I wanted to be in my marriage, in my finances, in my family life, in my schooling, in my spirituality. Oh, I saw myself tattered in all my areas of life. And I said, we need to regroup, because this is not it. And when I say not it, I was having thoughts at that time of suicide. And if you are having thoughts of suicide, please call the hotline and talk to somebody, because the thing is that all I felt was I wasn't enough, and I wasn't heard, and I wasn't seen. But by me personally now doing that and telling myself these things, I fill my own cup up, so I don't have to worry about other people's validation of me. And when they do, I just say thank you and I keep moving. It's not something that I have to completely celebrate, because all they're telling me is, Charenté, you're flowing in you right now. And I just love it. And I like flowing in me. When I flow in me, that means that people will feel love, people will feel kindness, people will feel gentleness, because that's who I am at my core. I am these things. I am peace and I am harmony as well, as we all are. We just sometimes don't realize it. And in the Bible, that's what we all call sin. Sin is just missing the mark. And it's missing the mark of you being trusting. It's missing the mark of you being loving. And loving is not just a word, it is a action. It's multiple English preference, like little labels. But I will say and, because buts, everyone has buts. And I will just say this. When we say but, I don't want to take away from anything that I just said. I'm going to say and. And we have a guest joining really fast. I will say after him, I will have to go, only because I have to cook breakfast for my baby and then start work.
Charenté, you mean you get to cook breakfast? Because look, I know because I know you were going to challenge you on the language because in nonviolent communication, of course, you're free to say you have to. But nonviolent communication, the author, he said he used to say he had to take his kids to school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? And then because his wife took them Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But then when he was writing the book, he said, wait a minute, he couldn't he said he's going to change his language to he gets to take his kids to school on Tuesdays and Thursdays because his wife does it 3 times a week and he only does it 2 times. And if his wife decides she's not going to do it at all, he would have to do it 5 times. And if both of them, if all of them were at the school that was got shot up and he didn't have a wife or kids, he would say, can you bring them back, God, so that I can say I get to take them Tuesdays and Thursdays?
I feel that.
But it's your free to say you
Jason.
have to. Look.
No, here's my thing is I don't mind word police. I have a mom by the name of Lois Hampson. She is the ultimate robo chief of word policing. Okay, she really
It's
is.
only because I know you
But I
and we're friends.
oh
Otherwise,
yeah.
people would get upset at me.
Oh, I'm not mad at it, and I will say. And when you said that, is I what I heard in my higher self says, Charenté, you're allowed to make breakfast, and then because my thing is that also means my breakfast don't taste nasty. Okay, that because as I said, I'm allowed to. Uh,
Yeah, somebody did that with me yesterday because I said I was on an app. I was on another app. I was on Clubhouse, and then I said, "Oh, I have to leave." So do you want to? I said to the other person who was waiting to speak. I didn't know he was before me or after me, but I said, "Oh, do you have to leave now? Because I have to leave. So if you have to leave now, go before me." But he said, "No, I don't have to leave." I said, "Okay, so I have to leave. So okay, so then he let me go before him because he didn't have to leave, right? And then a guy that I was gonna talk to later, and I was waiting for, but he had left. He came back in the room, so I decided not to go, right? Because I was gonna go. I was late for going to play basketball, but I'm the president of my own company. I can switch around my schedule. So I said, oh, okay. Oh, he's back. I said, Charles is back. Okay, I'm going to stay. This other guy said to me, oh, look at that. You're such a liar. You said you have to leave, and now you're staying. I said, look, I get to change my mind. I'm the president of the company. I even work for myself, and so I can change up my schedule if I want to play basketball later because this other person in back is greater, right? But the thing is,
I can't.
and then he said, no, I'm calling you out because I hate when people do that and it's insincere. Then he said, I'm lying. So I was just like, oh, I think, why would I have to lie? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so
Jason,
it's all
I will
good.
say this. Ready for it? People don't understand. I'll just say everything that comes to them. And you are a person that's also a business owner, and they might not understand that, which is perfectly okay. It's not really for them to understand. And I will say this is that here I think it's cool that you went back to the room because you're like, hey, I got some time, I can rearrange my schedule, and you made more time from it. So I can see how he saw what his point was, but I also see the other side of it too, because I would have been like, yo, so you were able to rearrange your schedule like that? I didn't know that was a thing. Can you teach me how to do that? Because I can't do that all the time. How you do
And
that?
I wish, because I teach people that Fridays, and you came, but I can't get everybody to come, so it might not be his thing to come at that time. But you know what? You have to just do you, because at the end of the day, you have to be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
Oh yeah, because that's why I said you have to sometimes also pause for the cause. Because the thing is that you decided to take an additional pause for your cause. Your cause was going to the basketball courts and hooping it up. And by you taking a pause for the cause, you're like, I'm gonna go back and continue having human connection in this way, but it wasn't well received in that way. But you didn't give up because you're on the Wisdom app, which means you don't give up when it comes to just talking because and that's also you, which I love about you.
And you know what? That's a choice because I was quiet the first 21 years of my life. I was so quiet as a kid, right? That when they used to, I remember my aunts I used to have these big fat cheeks when I was like 3. They used to just pinch my cheeks all the time. You know what? Those kids who have big fat cheeks, people think they could just, it's like child abuse. They didn't ask me. Okay, I didn't want him to pinch my cheeks. It hurt. Hey, they didn't ask me permission, but I didn't want to say anything because they're my aunts, right? They look like big people then. They just look like big giants. What are you gonna say? Hey, take your hand off my cheek. Right? You're not gonna be like, look. Even some people take big people hit them, so I didn't do anything, right? I just there. But every time they see me, they pinching my cheek, pinching my cheek. They didn't even ask my mother her permission. But I told my mother after. I said, "Why you let your sisters them pinch my cheek?" I didn't say anything at the time, though. I was very quiet. And then when I went through school, I was very quiet. I was that kid that just, they call it brain or whatever, just never date, never talk to anybody. Didn't have many friends. I walked through recess, just watching people beating each other up. I just watching people. I was just paying attention to learning. I said, I don't know if I want to play with them. They're beating everybody up, right? So I just walked through, and everyone. I had one friend, but sometimes we do running, we do track, we have races. But Most of the time, I build them sand castles in the summer, and they just come and destroy them, kick them in the recess, and I rebuild. And next recess, they kick them in again. And then in the snow time, in winter time, I build snowmen by myself. I build forts, and then at the end of recess, they come kicking my snowman head, kicking it. It's so destructive. I just walk it. Because I've had a decrease of beast games, and still, I never hit anybody still, right? So I'm like, why are these people so, why are these kids so beat up everybody? I remember my friends in grade 5, they in a fist fight, punching each other, they get suspended. I'm like, why are they doing that? We play baseball together. Why do they have? I said, I'm not going to do that. I just walk by myself. And then in high school, I was very quiet. They used to come up to me and say, Jason, how come you never talk? You know what I'd say?
What? Would you say nothing?
Right, I didn't talk.
I
Somebody
can't. I
really
was
never
like,
talked.
I
You ask them
can't
why
with
they never
you.
talk. Look, if you go to the tree in your backyard, you say why you never talk. What are you gonna say? You know, if you go to the rabbit in your backyard, you say why you never talk. She gonna run away, right? You go to a dog and say why you never talk. They're not gonna talk, right? So the thing is, so I didn't say anything. I was that quiet. So for people to say it's just a personality thing, I tell you, it's a choice to an extent. I'm not saying you don't have a predisposition, but hear me out. Somebody says, "Oh, they're not like me. They can't talk." I say, "Well, there's people that can't talk, but they don't say that. They're mute. They don't say that they can't talk. So they say, "Oh no, but I'm not." I'm not eloquentious. I'm not verbose. I'm an introvert. I'm gonna say this, right? You say that person that say they're introvert, and then there's a fire in their house, and their 4-year-old is sleeping. Are you gonna call me to yell fire because you're an introvert and I'm not? You just gonna let the
Jason,
house burn down?
why are we going so morbid so fast, sir? Like, I wasn't ready for this in the early AM, man.
So this is deep. You can speak. So you would
I
say
got you. It
fire.
can be deep so we can
You would say
speak. But
fire.
I understand your
Okay.
point.
Okay, you
I
would
do
say
understand.
fire. So the thing is, you do what you choose to do, right? And if you have enough of a reason, you speak, right? So I had enough of a reason when I was 21. My friend, she was my best friend at the time in university. She came from Quebec. She was a Chinese immigrant that grew up in Quebec. And she came, and we were best friends because she spoke French, and I wanted to improve my French. And then I said, "Oh," she said, "Jason, your French here is not good. It's not going to be good enough just talking to me. Just speak English." And I said, "Well, I want to speak French," right? She said, "Yeah, but take you too long, right?" She said, "If you want to learn French, go on exchange." I said, "Okay, I'm going to go on exchange for 5 weeks." She said, "5 weeks isn't long enough." I said, "I have to work at Microsoft as my co-op, and then 5 years it's already going to take me 5 years because of co-op, and it's a 4-year degree. I have 12 months of work terms, and I'm starting a corporation in 1999, and then I also have to go to a law school after, and I want to be prime minister. I don't have but 5 weeks." So I said, "I'm going to have to talk 3 times as much as everybody else, so that 5 weeks is like 15 weeks." So I made a rule that I'm going to talk a lot. Every opportunity, I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to worry if people say I talk too much. Et je peux parler français, c'était 5 semaines en fait, et en 5 semaines, je suis devenu bilingue. Donc, je peux parler français, je suis qualifié d'être Premier ministre du Canada, mais j'ai fait une décision d'être sûrement un président de mes propres compagnies. Je suis président de 3 corporations in 5 weeks, okay? And then I learned that you learn more when you talk more, because people say you listen first, you listen more, twice as much as you talk. But if you don't talk at all, people think you can't talk and they don't talk to you. So I've been both. And you learn more people talk to you, even if they tell you you talk too much. Have a nice day, Charenté.
Mm, I love when he does his mic drops. Sorry, we have to do the mic drop. I know it's like you're like a pop sure and take. Well, I don't have any other sound effects, so I got to do what I got to do. Um, so I will say thank you, Jason, for that. That was a lot of stories, and if you really did hear it, he literally said he took a pause for the cause in regards to not speaking, then to speaking, and then to understanding and learning another language. So he never gave up. He never listened to outside people around him, which is very phenomenal if because of the fact that he is resting in self. He's resting in himself. He's resting in his God part. And I think that's really cool and really awesome. So Brava, Mr. Jason. Freedom Fridays. Um, so as I said before, is I have not I have to, sorry. I get to make breakfast. I'm allowed to make breakfast. So I'm gonna go and make breakfast for me and my husband because I am hungry. Oh, Jason, come on now, sir. But I'll add you on because I haven't talked to you in a hot skip and a jump, and that was a far away. And he's on
I don't want to
now.
prevent you from eating, but I'll make it real brief. I just saw you on. I just finished my own show. I just want to say I missed you, my friend. I really have. I missed talking to you. So I do want to reach out to you and record
He'll come
with you.
back in a second.
Yeah, sorry, I had a phone call. I do want to record with you and about a couple issues. So I'm going to reach out to you offline. But I just want to say it's so good to see you. And when you stop recording on this one, I'm going to go back and listen to it.
Will do, will do. What I mainly said was this, Jason, is I did my story in regards to never giving up, and it's okay to pause for the cause because I paused for the cause in my education. I thought I gave
Mm-hmm.
up on myself, but when I was presented the opportunity yesterday to go back to school that will be paid for, I jumped on the opportunity and I'm now in class for laying down the legal framework for my business
There
is my
you
course
go.
right now.
My
So
further encouragement of that is like sometimes the student needs to go create some experience before he can further learn or she as well. So you have
I
to
love
go out
that.
there and sometimes you learn for a little while and then it's just like, hey, I gotta go and practice this for a while and then I can come back and learn the next thing. That's maturity.
I love that. That just brightened my day because I also signed up for my Korean class. It's going to be starting in a couple of weeks
Nice.
too. So I'll be learning more in regards to entrepreneurship and learning a new language. So that is my process right now in regards to also never giving up because I gave myself until the age of 25 to be fluent in Korean. I am not. I know 안녕하세요, and that's pretty much it. I know I say thank you too.
Yeah, yeah. Just think about that. There's different stages for your education and your maturity and your learning. So it's not always clear right off the bat. I mean, I didn't start college until I was 30, 31. You know, think about that. It's like a lot of us would think, why did you delay? Well, I wasn't ready to learn, honestly. And there were times
That
I had
makes
to
sense.
stop and work and earn and then come back and say, okay, I really want to do this. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense. I did all of it at one time, which made school really bad because I wasn't focusing on it. So I
Mm.
completely get it because when I looked through that and also looked at how I financially spent my student loan money, I was like, I could have spent that better. But I'm happy that I spent it in that way so I know what the contrast looks like.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, my friend, I'm going to let you go so you can enjoy your food or whatever you're going to do next. But I'm glad I caught you online because I don't, we don't cross paths too often lately. So,
No, I've
um,
been here. I've been on hiatus because I've also been in rebranding mode and taking care of a lot of other stuff. So I will
right.
try to be on Wisdom a little bit more, even if it's not for extended periods of time, so that I can
I
still
feel
talk to
you.
my friends because I love you and I love Martin John. I love everyone that I really speak with on
I've
Wisdom.
been in the
And I
creator
do miss you
studio, so I
guys.
get you. I've been in the creator studio. I took 2 weeks off since me and my co-host on Blank Canvas, we decided to take a 2 week break, and so I kind of scaled back even all recording. So you got to do what you got to do, you know. And when you come back and you're refreshed and you feel good, you know, you'll be here for a good reason and not just to fill in time, you know. But
Same.
anyhow,
That's why I was like purpose driven. And I will say, I love you. I love everything you're doing. I love the fact that you're still doing your rise and grind. You're still doing your man to
mhm.
man. Like, just keep doing you, Jason. I do watch you and I do see what you post. I like how you always message me something motivation. And I'm like, okay, Steve Harvey this time. I hear you,
Oh, you
Jason.
like that one? Hey,
It
my
was
past
good.
mistakes are not for you to measure anymore. Uh,
They're not because they're in the
right?
past. So that's why I was
Exactly.
like, I love what you send me, and I do look at it. And I will say this is that when you go on to this is for the people listening. If when you go onto Wisdom, you will find community here. You will find real human connection here because we are information gathering into one database that's not searchable yet, but it will be eventually. And you'll be able to get a wealth of information and wisdom from a lot of different perspectives, which is so beautiful. So thank you, Jason, for
All
hopping
right.
on. You know
No
I love you
worries. All
always.
right. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Uh,
And for the person currently waiting, Mr. Bobby Dalla's show. I will talk to you later only because I really do want food. I love food. And also, happy Cinco de Mayo, which is just translation for May 5th. Just think about what's your favorite Mexican food and maybe have it today. Maybe support your local a Mexican stand. You never know. Or a taco truck. You never know. But happy Single Day Mayo. I hope you have an amazing day. I love you to infinity and beyond. Bye bye. Ta ta. Farewell.